U.S. military says 34 soldiers have been diagnosed with traumatic brain injuries after an Iranian missile strike earlier this month on an airbase housing U.S. troops in Iraq. President Donald Trump had initially said no troops were injured in the attack, but military said symptoms were not immediately reported. 17 of the 34 injured are still being treated or remain under observation. The strike by Iran came after the U.S. assassinated the country's top general, Qasem Soleimani.
On Iran, initially you said repeatedly to Americans that after Iran retaliated for the Soleimani strike, no Americans were injured. We now know at least 11 U.S. servicemen were airlifted from Iraq. Can you explain the discrepancy?
No, I heard that they had headaches and a couple of other things, but I would say, and I can report, it is not very serious.
So you don't consider potential traumatic brain injury serious?
They told me about it numerous days later. You'd have to ask Department of Defense. No, I don't consider them very serious injuries relative to other injuries that I've seen. I've seen what Iran has done with their roadside bombs to our troops. I've seen people with no legs and with no arms. I've seen people that were horribly, horribly injured in that area, that war. In fact, many cases those bombs put there by Soleimani, who's no longer with us. I consider them to be really bad injuries. No, I do not consider that to be bad injuries, no.
That Iranian missile strike on the Al-Assad air base hurting more U.S. troops than the Trump administration first reported. The Pentagon confirming tonight 34 service members suffered concussions and traumatic brain injuries after the attack in Iraq. Half are still being evaluated and treated. The rest back on duty.
A lot of these symptoms, they are late developing. They manifest over a period of time.
The president initially touted no injuries in the strike.
Nobody was hurt. Nobody was killed. No Americans were harmed. How many hurt? They said, nobody, sir.
When it became clear this week that was not the case, President Trump appeared to downplay what happened.
I heard that they had headaches and a couple of other things, but I would say, and I can report, it is not very serious.
So you don't consider potential traumatic brain injury serious?
No, I don't consider them very serious injuries relative to other injuries that I've seen.
Now, new criticism from some veterans groups who worry about TBI.
A traumatic brain injury is more than just a headache. It's something that can seriously impact a person's life over the next 1, 2, even 15 years.
Long-term consequences putting service members at risk. Hallie Jackson, NBC News, the White House.